What would you do if someone arrived at your doorstep with a grand gift box, only for you to open it and find a baby doll pierced with needles and pins? What would that mean for you? And what would it unleash? Zuleika had just moved into her dream apartment, a large, beautiful space in the heart of Ujani Estate, one of the finest in all of Lagos. She and her husband, Kwame, were newlyweds, barely 3 weeks into their marriage. Their former apartment had been too small for the life they planned, so they moved here, for more space, more dreams, and to start a new family. Zuleika had decorated the home exactly how she'd always imagined. Every curtain, every chair, every scented candle placed with love. It felt like paradise. That Saturday evening, Zuleika lay curled up on the sofa, Kwame's arm draped over her shoulder. They were watching their favorite series, laughing between bites of roasted plantain. Then, a knock at the door. Kwame looked up, confused. Zuleika raised her brows. "Who could that be?" he asked. "We just moved in," she said, already, rising from the couch. "No one knows us here yet." When she opened the door, a stunning woman stood there, tall, fair-skinned, wrapped in a flowing turquoise blouse and a glittering skirt that shimmered under the porch light. Her jewelry sparkled. Her perfume wafted gently through the doorway. "Good evening," the woman said sweetly. "I'm Madame Rudo. I chair the Estate Welfare Committee. I live just down the road. Word reached us that you and your husband just moved in. I came to officially welcome you to Ujani Estate." Zuleika smiled. "Oh, thank you, Ma. Please come in." "No need, my dear. I have a meeting to attend shortly," Madame Rudo said, stepping briefly inside. "But I must say, what a lovely home you have. You've done wonders with this space, truly," Zuleika chuckled. "Thank you, Ma. I tried my best." Madame Rudo's gaze shifted to Kwame, who had now stood to greet her. "Ah, and this must be your husband?" "Yes, Ma. My name is Kwame. Thank you for the warm welcome. You're already part of us," Madame Rudo said, pulling a luxurious gift box from behind her back. "Other estate families will stop by too, but here, a token to welcome you." "Thank you so much," Zuleika said, her eyes wide. "I must be going now. Wishing you both joy and peace in your new home. I'll see you around," Madame Rudo said before sweeping out the door like royalty. As soon as the door closed, Kwame turned to Zuleika, both of them wide-eyed. "Are people still this kind?" Kwame asked. Zuleika laughed. "Let's open it." Inside the box was a stunning wall clock, gold-rimmed, elegant, modern. Zuleika squealed. "This will go perfectly above the television," she said, grabbing a stool and hanging it with joy. For the next few days, their doorbell kept ringing. More gifts came. Fruit baskets, scented candles, decorative vases. Neighbors they hadn't even met dropped by with smiles and laughter. Zuleika's heart swelled. "We chose the right place," she told Kwame. One afternoon, Zuleika's old friend Halima came visiting for the first time since the wedding. The two hugged tightly, squealing with joy. "Ah, look at you," Halima said. "New wife, new house, glowing like sunrise." As they sat down, Zuleika poured drinks and began telling Halima all about the estate neighbors and their generous welcome. "Can you believe they brought us more gifts than we got at our wedding?" Zuleika said, pointing to the gold wall clock. "Even this beauty was from Madame Rudo, the welfare chair." Halima nodded, sipping her juice. That's lovely, but Zuleika, I hope you're careful, eh?" Zuleika blinked. "I hope you prayed over those gifts," Halima said seriously. "It's not every smiling face that carries peace." Zuleika rolled her eyes playfully. "Mama Halima, you've started again with your spiritual warnings." "Zuleika." "I'm serious," Halima said. "I know of a popular makeup artist who accepted a gift from a new client. It was beautiful, but months later, her life turned upside down. Her business failed. Her husband lost everything. She ended up begging." Zuleika looked at her friend, trying to brush it off, but a sliver of unease crept into her stomach. "All I'm saying is," Halima continued, "a gift is not always what it seems. The heart of man is wicked. Please, just be watchful." Zuleika nodded slowly. "I've heard you, Mama Halima. Now enough of this doom talk. What should I offer you, my dear guest?" "You and your village suspicions," Zuleika laughed. brushing Halima's warning away with a wave of her hand. That evening, after Halima had gone, Zuleika walked quietly to the small guest room where she had kept all the gifts the neighbors had brought. She stood in the center of the room, her eyes scanning the boxes, baskets, and wrapped items. A strange silence hung there. Halima's voice echoed in her mind. And then her mother's too. Zuleika slowly sat on the floor and began opening each gift one by one. Everything inside sparkled with luxury: scented candles, silk robes, perfumes, rare teas, imported chocolates. There was nothing unusual or evil-looking about them. They were all beautiful. Why would anyone think badly of these, she thought, but then her eyes landed on a folded piece of Ankara fabric tucked into a golden box. She gently lifted it out, and her breath caught. It was a 6-yard piece, rich, vibrant, and nothing like she'd ever owned, the kind of fabric reserved for special ceremonies. Her fingers ran across the cloth. "This is so beautiful," she whispered. Her mind quickly wandered to all the trending designs she'd seen online. "I'll keep this one for something big. Maybe a naming ceremony one day," she said, smiling softly to herself. She stood up and arranged the rest of the gifts: perfumes on her dressing table, spa products in the bathroom, the special Ankara locked away in the bottom of her box where she kept her most precious clothes. That night, Kwame came home from work and found her humming joyfully, setting the house in order. She told him Halima had come and gone. He smiled and kissed her forehead. All seemed well. A few days later, Zuleika's mother called from the village. "My daughter, how are you? How is my son Kwame? Are you both settling in well?" she asked warmly. "We're fine, Mama," Zuleika said, beaming through the phone. "You won't believe how kind our new neighbors are. They brought us gifts." "Mama, beautiful things." Her mother's tone immediately shifted. "You accepted them?" "Yes, Mama. I prayed over them too." "You prayed? Is that enough?" "My daughter, you should have anointed those things with oil. And if anything feels strange, throw it out. Don't joke with this world. Not everyone that gives with love." "Mama, the gifts were too beautiful to reject. Nothing strange has happened. We've been using them, and everything is fine." "Oh, Zuleika," her mother cried. This girl wants to kill me with worry. How many times have I told you to be careful? Someone brought you cake and chocolates, and you just opened your mouth like wah, 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 and ate everything. You didn't even pause to ask where the hand that baked them came from?" After the call, Zuleika stood quietly for a long time. She felt a wave of guilt sweep over her. Maybe she had been too carefree. But then she reasoned with herself. "Nothing has happened. I've eaten the chocolates, worn the robes, we're fine." That night, as she sat quietly beside Kwame, he noticed her silence. "What's wrong, love?" he asked. Zuleika sighed. "I'm just thinking about what Mama and Halima said. Maybe I shouldn't have used those gifts so soon." Kwame gently pulled her close. "My love, nothing is wrong. We prayed. And besides, people can be good. Don't let fear steal your peace." But neither of them knew what was truly coming. Months passed. Zuleika and Kwame began trying for a baby. At first, they were hopeful. It was still early in their marriage, after all. But then years started to pass. 2, 3, 4, 5. Each time Zuleika conceived, she would lose the child before the second trimester. The pain ate her from the inside. She cried silently at night, gripping her pillow, whispering to the heavens. Kwame tried to stay strong, but even he was beginning to crack. Finally, they decided to visit a well-known fertility clinic in Lagos. Everyone they spoke to said the doctors there were experts, that miracles happened in their halls. They arrived at the clinic on a warm Tuesday morning, collected their file and waited in the reception. Zuleika clutched her handbag tightly. Kwame rubbed her shoulder gently. "This is the beginning of our testimony," he whispered. Soon they were called, and the doctor greeted them warmly. "Good day, Mr. and Mrs. Okoro. Is this your first visit?" "Yes, doctor," Kwame replied. "We've been trying to conceive for years. My wife has taken in a few times, but each time we lose the baby before the pregnancy grows." Zuleika's voice trembled as she spoke. "I've lost count, doctor. I just want to be a mother." The doctor nodded slowly and scribbled some notes. "I'm truly sorry you've had to go through this, but before I recommend anything, We need to run full tests on both of you. Once we get your results, we'll know how to proceed. Anything. Doctor, they both said in unison. They were referred to the lab where blood work, scans and more were done. After several days of anxious waiting, they returned to hear their results. The doctor flipped through the file. Your tests are all normal, he said. Your body systems, both of you, are perfect for conception. There is no biological reason why you cannot have children. Zuleika's eyes widened. Doctor, this is the same thing we were told in the other hospitals, but still we keep losing our babies. Kwame leaned forward, panic in his voice. Please, doctor, check again. There must be something you're missing. The doctor leaned back in his chair, his face calm but firm. Mr. and Mrs. Okoro, we've run every test we can, medically. Speaking, there is no problem with either of you. You're both capable of conceiving. Zuleika's heart sank. Again? She had heard this line too many times, and yet here they were, still childless, still empty-armed. The doctor handed her a sheet of paper. Here are some supplements to help support your womb and some vitamins too. I've also listed a few food types and exercises to improve fertility. Zuleika and Kwame left the hospital in silence. Their shoulders drooped, their spirits crushed. This was the 10th clinic they had visited in the past few years. All said the same thing. Nothing was wrong. But if nothing was wrong, why did every pregnancy end in pain? The endless rounds of blood, tests, the waiting rooms, the tiny glimmers of hope that always ended in tears. It had worn them down. That night, Zuleika's phone rang. It was her mother calling from the village. "My daughter," she said softly. "How are you? Any news?" Zuleika tried to stay strong, but the words broke her open. "Mama, no news. We went to another fertility clinic today. They said the same thing. Nothing is wrong. Mama, I'm tired." "Oh, my child, don't cry. God will do it," Mama Zuleika said, her voice warm but strained. "I sent you some herbs from the village to calm your belly. Drink it at night. I used it when I was trying to conceive you. God will show up for you, my daughter. Don't lose hope." "Okay, Mama, thank you," Zuleika whispered and ended the call. But once she hung up, her body shook with tears. "Why me?" she asked herself, sitting on the edge of her bed. "No one in our family has ever had issues with childbirth. Not me, not even in Kwame's family. So why is mine different?" The next few days, Zuleika followed the doctor's advice carefully. She took the supplements, forced herself to exercise, and followed the food list to the letter. Each night she drank the herbs her mother sent. She prayed, she fasted, she believed. But then that familiar sign returned. Her period came again. Another failed month. Another crack in her heart. She wept in the bathroom that day, holding her abdomen as if begging it to cooperate. Kwame found her on the floor and lifted her gently. "Please be strong," he whispered, but his own voice was thin, tired. The weight of it all was burying them both. One evening, a close friend visited and pulled Zuleika aside. "My sister, I know you've been trying for long. Why don't you try IVF? My uncle's wife did, and now she has 2 healthy children. There's a clinic in Ikea that's very good. People say they're excellent." That night, Zuleika brought it up to Kwame. "Love," she said carefully, "what if we try IVF?" Kwame's brow furrowed. "Zuleika, I've heard about that, but it's very expensive. We've already spent everything on tests and visits. We barely make it to the end of the month now." "I know," she said, "but what are we even saving money for if not for children? This might be our chance. I don't want to miss it." Kwame shook his head slowly. "Not now. Please. Let's just wait on God. The IVF procedure, we can't afford it." But Zuleika's heart was already set. She wanted it. She needed it. That night they argued. She told him plainly, "If we don't do this, I'll leave. I can't live in this hopelessness anymore." For days they bickered. Words turned cold. Their love, once warm like fresh palm, oil began to curdle. Eventually, Kwame gave in. He took a loan from his workplace, and together they began the IVF process. The injections, the medications, the waiting, every step they followed. But when the results came, the news was bitter. It failed. Completely. Zuleika broke down in the clinic. Kwame could barely speak. The money was gone. The loan remained. Their dream vanished again. After that, the light in their home dimmed. Laughter no longer echoed in their walls. Instead, the silence grew heavy, like a storm that had settled and refused to leave. They began to fight every day over meals, over bills, over the smallest things. The very bones of their marriage were cracking. One afternoon, Mama Zuleika called again. Her voice was slow but steady. "My child, how are you?" "I'm fine, Mama," Zuleika replied quickly. "Are you okay?" "I am well." Her mother said, "But I've been worried. Last night I had a terrible dream about you, that's why I'm calling." Zuleika's heart pounded. "Mama, what did you see?" "I won't tell you all the details, but something isn't right. My eyes have opened to some things and I now see clearly. What is happening to you is not ordinary, my daughter." "Mama, what do you mean?" Zuleika said, her chest tightening. "My child," Mama said, "it is time for battle. You must pray. You must fight spiritually. The enemy is at work." "Mama, please stop," Zuleika said, voice cracking. "I'm tired. I have done everything, and I've prayed, I've fasted, I've taken supplements, herbs, injections. Kwame even took a loan for IVF. Mama, it failed. Now we're in debt. We fight all the time. I'm tired. If something bad wants to happen, let it happen already. I'm done trying." There was silence, then Mama said gently, "You must not give up. Even when the storm is loudest, don't let go of God. I will stand with you. I will pray with you. This battle is not yours alone." Zuleika wiped her tears, but her heart was weary. Zuleika didn't want to hear anything else about dreams or evil forces. She ended the call abruptly, even while her mother was still speaking, and switched off her phone. She didn't want to think. She didn't want to cry again. That weekend, Kwame traveled for a business conference in Pakor, the first time he had left her alone since they married 5 years ago. As soon as he left, the house felt too large, too quiet, too cold. Loneliness sat with her like a shadow. The silence began to press against her chest. Eventually, she picked up her phone and called her closest friend. Halima came that same evening and decided to stay the night. They curled up in the living room like old times, drinking zobo and catching up on stories. It felt almost like joy, until Halima asked, "Zuli, one of my church sisters is getting married next weekend. Will you go with me?" Zuleika sighed. "No, please. I don't want to see anyone. I just want to hide from this wicked world," she said with a dry laugh. But Halima was never the type to take no for an answer. "You've been locked inside this house for too long. You'll come with me, even if I have to drag you by wrapper." "Okay. Fine, Mama Halima," Zuleika said, finally giving in. "But I don't have anything to wear." "Lie," Halima shouted. "What of all those fine wrappers you've been hoarding in that big box? Bring one out before they start growing cobwebs." Zuleika laughed, then suddenly remembered something. The fabric. That luxurious 6-yard lace she had received 5 years ago when they moved into the estate, the one from the neighbors. "Wait here," she said, and rushed to the bedroom. She knelt and dragged out the old luggage where she stored her special clothes. Slowly she opened it. Her hands reached for the lace, but what she pulled out was not what she remembered. Her heart skipped. The once beautiful glossy fabric was now tattered, torn and covered in grime. It looked like it had been dragged through mud and war. Zuleika's mouth opened in horror. "What? What is this?" she whispered. She dug deeper, checking the other fabrics. They were all untouched, clean, bright. Only this one had rotted like this. As she spread it out, something dropped to the floor. A small, evil-looking baby doll, pierced all over with long, rusted needles. Zuleika screamed. Halima came running. What happened? What is it?" she asked, eyes wide. Zuleika pointed, trembling. That doll. It fell out of the lace. That was the same wrapper the estate people gave me years ago." Halima stood frozen. Jesus, wonders shall never end. Without delay, they called Pastor Bodunrin, Zuleika's church pastor, and explained everything. Within an hour, he arrived with 3 other prayer warriors. As soon as Pastor Bodunrin stepped into the room and saw the doll, he shouted, "You spirit of barrenness, we command you out." He began to pray in tongues, fire in his voice. The prayer warriors circled the doll and the fabric, anointing them, rebuking every darkness. Zuleika stood at the corner of the room, trembling with fear. All she could say was, "Amen," over and over, not even understanding what was unfolding. For hours the prayers continued. Then Pastor Bodenrin took the doll and the ruined lace outside. They poured oil and kerosene on them and set them ablaze. The fire crackled like it was devouring evil itself. Afterwards they went around the house, praying, anointing every door, every wall. When they were done, everyone returned to the living room. Pastor Bodenrin looked her in the eyes and declared, "It is finished." Zuleika stared at him, confused. "Pastor, what happened? What was that thing?" He sat beside her. "My daughter, that was not just fabric. That was a spiritual seed of barrenness. As long as it remained in your home, no child could grow in your womb." Zuleika gasped. "But it was so beautiful. It came in a gift box. I thought..." "Not everyone who smiles at you is your friend," the pastor said firmly. "The heart of man is wicked. Someone planted that curse inside your house. That doll, those needles, they were destroying your womb in silence." Zuleika broke down in tears. "Who did I offend? What did I do to deserve this?" She remembered her mother's warnings, Halima's warnings, all those voices she had ignored. That night she couldn't stay in the house. She packed a few clothes and went with Halima to her apartment. She couldn't breathe properly until she was out of that cursed building. When Kwame returned a few days later, he went straight to Halima's place. Zuleika told him everything, and the fabric, the doll, the prayers. He stood there speechless. "We must move," he said. "We're not staying there another night." That week they sold all their furniture, their decor, and everything that estate people had gifted them. Every cursed thing gone. They found a modest apartment far away from the old estate and started again, from scratch. That same month, Zuleika conceived. Fear followed them throughout the pregnancy. What if it ended like the others? But Pastor Bodenrin kept visiting, kept praying, and reminded them to stay faithful. And then, 9 months later, Zuleika gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl. The hospital room filled with praise. They named the children Ayotunde and Anuoluwapo. Joy has returned, and God's mercy is abundant. From that moment on, everything changed. Their finances, their marriage, their home, everything they had lost began to return to them, one blessing at a time. But they never forgot. Zuleika never again accepted gifts blindly. She prayed over everything. She listened when people warned. She became a living testimony, and the lesson she always shared? Not all gifts are blessings. Some come to steal what God has planted. Be watchful. Be prayerful. The enemy doesn't always knock. Sometimes it smiles and hands you a box.